First contact and devastation. The sky above Elysium Prime had always been a canvas of peace. Streaks of purple and blue danced across the twilight as transport vessels drifted between the colony's three major cities. 30 million humans called this world home, a jewel of civilization nestled in the Gamma sector, known for its vast oceans and twin moons that pulled the turquoise waters into spectacular tidal displays. Governor Maya Chen stood on the balcony of the Colonial Administration Tower, watching children play in Founders Park below. 15 years of hard work had transformed Elysium from a harsh frontier outpost into humanity's most successful deep space colony. The achievement had earned her a fifth term as governor, though she often joked that the spectacular sunsets had secured more votes than her policies. "Governor, you have an urgent call from Observatory Station." Her assistant's voice crackled through her comm unit. Chen tapped her earpiece. "This is Governor Chen." "Ma'am, we've detected unidentified vessels emerging from slipped space at the edge of our system. 27 ships. Configuration unknown. They're not responding to hails." Chen's smile faded. First contact protocols were clear, but something about the tension in the observatory director's voice made her stomach tighten. "Have they taken aggressive actions?" "Negative, but they're accelerating toward Elysium at high velocity. Trajectory suggests they'll reach orbit in approximately 18 minutes. Alert colony defense. Deploy the orbital platforms to defensive formation Delta. I'm on my way to the command center." Chen had just reached the tower's central elevator when the first tremor shook the building. Emergency alarms blared as she stumbled against the wall. The elevator doors opened, revealing her security chief. Face ashen. "They're firing on us," he shouted over the alarms. No warning, no demands. The command center was chaos when they arrived. Holographic displays showed multiple impact sites across the colony's surface. The city of New Cascadia was already engulfed in flames, its shield generators destroyed in the initial barrage. "Where's our defense fleet?" Chen demanded. Admiral Kowalski, commander of Elysium's modest protection force, looked up from a tactical display. The 7th Squadron engaged the hostiles, but his voice broke. They were cut to pieces in seconds. Technology unlike anything we've encountered. Outside the armored windows, Chen watched as green energy beams sliced through the colony's tallest structures. Buildings that had taken years to construct collapsed in seconds, burying thousands. Transport ships attempting to escape were methodically targeted and destroyed, burning debris raining down on the panicked crowds below. "Evacuation status?" Chen asked, fighting to keep her voice steady. "The underground shelters in Elysium City are at 23% capacity. New Cascadia's shelters were hit directly. Port Victoria reports their main transport hub is destroyed." The communications officer wiped tears from her eyes as she delivered the report. "Ma'am, we're looking at catastrophic civilian casualties." Chen closed her eyes briefly, gathering her strength. "Send the emergency beacon to Earth Command. Priority Alpha. Include all sensor data on the attacking vessels." As the signal transmitted, the aliens changed tactics. Instead of targeting infrastructure, they began firing into the planet's oceans. Massive columns of superheated water erupted into the atmosphere. Within minutes, scalding rain began falling across the continent. "They're weaponizing our environment," the science officer whispered in horror. "The atmospheric temperature is rising rapidly." Chen watched as the colony she helped build was systematically destroyed. Not conquered, destroyed. This wasn't an invasion. It was extinction. "Governor, I've established a direct quantum link to Earth Command," the communications officer called out. "General Yamamoto is responding personally." The holographic display flickered to life, revealing the stern face of Earth's highest-ranking military commander. Before Chen could speak, a massive explosion rocked the tower. Ceiling panels crashed down as the building began to list dangerously. "General," Chen gasped, blood trickling from a cut on her forehead. "Elysium is under attack by unknown forces. They came without warning." "There," She looked at the tactical display showing the colony's rapidly diminishing life signs. They're killing everyone. This isn't a war. It's genocide. Yamamoto's expression hardened. We're receiving your sensor data. Hold position if possible. The Orion fleet is already mobilizing. Chen laughed bitterly. The Orion fleet is 3 weeks away at maximum burn, General. We have minutes. Another explosion shook the building. Make them pay for this, she said, her voice suddenly calm. Whatever they are, make them understand what happens when you attack humanity. The transmission cut out as the command center's power failed. Emergency lights bathed the room in red. Outside, the alien ships had formed a perfect ring around the planet, their weapons now targeting the continental shelf. Massive fissures opened in the planet's crust, releasing superheated magma. They're making sure nothing survives, Admiral Kowalski murmured. Not even bacteria. Chen straightened her uniform, dignity intact even as death approached. Send one final message on all frequencies, to Earth and to them. The communications officer nodded, activating the emergency transmitter. This is Governor Maya Chen of Elysium Prime. To Earth, remember us. To our attackers, you have made a terrible mistake. Humanity is not forgiving, and we are not alone. What comes for you now will be remembered for millennia. You should have left us in peace. The transmission ended as the tower finally collapsed. Admiral Elena Vega stood motionless as the recording played for the third time. The command center of Earth's orbital defense station Alpha was silent except for Governor Chen's final words echoing through the chamber. 30 million lives snuffed out in less than 2 hours. An entire colony, humanity's pride, reduced to a molten, uninhabitable rock. Vega had known Maya Chen personally. They'd trained together at the academy before their careers took different paths. Now Chen was dead, along with every man, woman, and child on Elysium Prime. Identification of the attacking vessels. Vega asked, her voice dangerously controlled. The intelligence officer cleared his throat. Unknown, Admiral. Configuration doesn't match any species in the Galactic Alliance. Their technology signatures suggest capabilities significantly beyond our current understanding. Do we know where they came from? Where they went after the attack? Long-range sensors tracked them heading toward the Perseus arm. Based on their trajectory, they originated from somewhere in the unexplored regions beyond the sickness void. Vega turned to face the assembled military leadership of Earth. 24 admirals and generals, representing every fleet and ground force humanity had developed since reaching the stars. Their faces reflected her own emotions: shock, grief, and now, a cold fury. Recommendations, she asked. Admiral Zhao of the Asian Alliance Fleet spoke first. We should inform the Galactic Alliance. Request assistance under the Mutual Defense Pact. The Alliance will debate for months, General Santos countered. By then, these aliens could hit another colony. We need immediate action. We could deploy the 6th and 8th Fleets, suggested Admiral Catry. They're our most advanced battle groups. Vega shook her head slowly. This wasn't a misunderstanding or a territorial dispute. They didn't attempt communication. They didn't seek surrender. They exterminated 30 million humans and made a planet uninhabitable. She turned to the holographic display showing Earth's military assets. We don't send a fleet. We send all of them. Murmurs spread through the room. Admiral, Zhou said carefully, that would leave Earth and our other colonies vulnerable. Earth has its defensive grid. The inner colonies have their garrisons. Vega's eyes remained fixed on the display. I want every warship we have. Every carrier, destroyer, cruiser, and dreadnought. Every vessel capable of mounting weapon systems. The strategic operations officer swallowed hard. That would be approximately 700,000 vessels. Admiral, it would take weeks to coordinate such a force. Then we start now. Vega turned to face them again. The aliens made one critical mistake. They left evidence. They let our sensors record their technology, their tactics. Most importantly, they let Governor Chen's final message reach us. Her voice hardened. They should have made sure no one knew what happened. Instead, they showed us exactly what they're capable of. She activated the room's main display, bringing up an image of the alien fleet destroying Elysium. These beings need to understand something fundamental about humanity. We don't forgive. We don't forget. And we do not allow genocide to go unanswered. One by one, the military leaders nodded. Send the order, Vega commanded. Every available warship is to rendezvous at Proxima Centauri within 72 hours. We follow their trail to the Perseus arm. We find them. And then we show them exactly what happens when you awaken humanity's full wrath. As the orders went out, Vega gazed at the final image transmitted from Elysium. The alien vessels forming that perfect ring around the dying planet. 700,000 warships would soon depart on the largest military operation in human history. The aliens had attacked a single colony. In response, they would face the combined might of an entire species united by grief and rage. Humanity was coming. Reckoning and revelation. The void between stars was filled with the largest armada humanity had ever assembled. 700,000 warships moved in perfect formation, engines burning with cold blue fire against the darkness. At their center, the super dreadnought Retribution carried Admiral Elena Vega and the combined command staff of Earth's unified fleets. Lieutenant Commander Jackson entered the Admiral's ready room with the latest intelligence update. He found Vega studying a holographic model of Elysium Prime, not as the molten ruin it had become, but as the vibrant colony it had been 3 weeks ago. The aliens call themselves the Myrkul, Jackson reported, placing a data tablet on Vega's desk. Our deep space reconnaissance probes managed to intercept some of their communications. Vega's eyes remained fixed on the hologram. Do we know why they attacked? Not yet. Admiral, their language is complex, but our AI translators are making progress. What we do know is that they've established a forward base in the Arcturus system. How far until we make contact? 18 hours at current velocity. Vega nodded, finally turning away from the hologram. And our fleet status. All 700,000 vessels report ready for combat, Admiral. The 7th and 12th Tactical Groups have deployed reconnaissance drones ahead of our main force. For the first time in weeks, Vega allowed herself a small smile. The scale of the human response had exceeded even her expectations. Ships had come from every corner of human space. Military vessels, converted civilian craft, ancient warships pulled from mothballs and hastily retrofitted with modern weapon systems. Crews had volunteered in such numbers that some ships had to turn people away. Have the drones found their fleet? Jackson nodded. Yes, Admiral. Approximately 8,000 vessels in defensive formation around the Arcturus base. They appear to be waiting for us. Vega's eyebrows rose. Only 8,000. Are they that confident? Intelligence suggests they may not understand the scale of our response. The Myrkul fleet that destroyed Elysium consisted of just 27 ships. Even accounting for their technological advantage, they can't possibly stand against our numbers. Unless they know something we don't, Vega mused. Maintain alert status. I want weapons hot and shields at maximum the moment we enter the Arcturus system. As Jackson left, Vega returned her gaze to the hologram of Elysium Prime. For a moment, she allowed herself to remember the colony as it had been during her last visit. The spectacular ocean vistas, the architectural marvels of New Cascadia, the laughter of children in Founders Park, all gone now, reduced to cooling magma and toxic atmosphere. The comm system chimed. Admiral, we're receiving a transmission. It's from the Myrkul. Vega's jaw tightened. Put it through to my ready room. The hologram of Elysium vanished, replaced by the image of a being unlike any Vega had seen before. Its body was vaguely humanoid, but covered in iridescent scales that shifted color as it moved. 4 arms emerged from a torso protected by what appeared to be biomechanical armor. Most disturbing was its face. 3 vertical slits where eyes should be, and a mouth that seemed to spiral inward like a vortex. "Human vessel." The alien spoke, its voice a discordant harmony of multiple tones. "I am Supreme Commander Zythar of the Myrkal Dominion. Your presence in our territory is an act of war." Vega nearly laughed at the audacity. "Our presence is an act of war. You destroyed an entire human colony without provocation or warning." The alien's scales rippled in what might have been amusement. "The world you call Elysium Prime was cleansed by necessity. Its continued existence threatened the Dominion. 30 million civilians threatened you." Vega's voice was ice. "They were colonists, not soldiers." "They were contaminated," Zythar replied flatly. "The human settlement was built upon the ruins of an ancient beacon, one your scientists had activated without understanding its purpose. The signal it emitted would have drawn something far worse than the Myrkal to your worlds." Vega hesitated, caught off guard. "What are you talking about?" "We have monitored your species since you first achieved interstellar travel," the alien continued. "Humans are young, aggressive, and dangerously curious. The beacon beneath Elysium Prime was one of 12 constructed by the precursors to contain an enemy that nearly destroyed all life in this galaxy eons ago. Your colonists broke the containment protocols when they established their settlement. If that's true, why didn't you attempt communication? Explain the danger." The Myrkal commander's scales darkened. Previous attempts to communicate with emerging species about the precursor technology have resulted in accelerated efforts to weaponize it. The risk was too great. Cleansing was the only certain solution. Vega felt a chill run through her. Could the alien be telling the truth? Elysium's initial surveys had indeed discovered ruins of unknown origin beneath the site chosen for the main colony. The scientists had classified them as benign archaeological curiosities. "Even if what you say is true," Vega said carefully, "it doesn't justify genocide. You could have evacuated the colonists. And taken them where?" "Your kind spreads like a virus, Admiral Vega. Had we transported them to another world, they would have carried microscopic traces of the contamination with them. The entity the beacons contain operates on a quantum level. A single particle is sufficient for it to establish a foothold." The ready room felt suddenly cold as Vega processed the implications. "How do you know my name?" "We know much about humanity, including your military protocols and command structure." The alien's mouth spiral contracted. "We also know that your response force, while impressive in size, cannot hope to match our technological superiority. The cleansing of Elysium Prime required only 27 of our vessels. You face 8,000. "I have 700,000 ships under my command," Vega countered. "Numbers that will make no difference." Zythar's voice took on an almost regretful tone. "But we did not expect such a unified response from your species. It suggests a capacity for collective action we had not observed before. This is interesting." A notification flashed on Vega's console, an urgent message from Earth Command. She ignored it, keeping her focus on the alien. "If your concern truly was this ancient threat, then help us understand it. Work with us to neutralize it without further bloodshed. The time for cooperation has passed, Admiral. Your armada approaches with hostile intent. We must respond accordingly." The alien commander paused. "However, we are not without mercy. Withdraw your forces now, and the Myrkal will limit our cleansing operations to only those worlds where precursor technology has been detected." Vega's hand curled into a fist. "And how many human colonies does that include?" 3, including the one you call Earth." The revelation hit Vega like a physical blow. Earth itself was built on precursor ruins. It explained the aliens' confidence. They believed they had justification to strike at humanity's homeworld. "This conversation is over," Vega said coldly. "You murdered 30 million people. Whatever your justification, humanity will not stand idle." The alien's scales rippled one final time. "Then you have chosen extinction, Admiral Vega. When our work is complete, perhaps the next species to evolve on your worlds will show greater wisdom." The transmission ended. Vega immediately opened the channel to Earth Command. "Admiral." General Yamamoto's face appeared, grave with concern. "Our deep space telescopes have detected massive energy signatures approaching from the galactic core. Thousands of vessels larger than anything in our fleet. They'll reach your position within hours." "Miracle reinforcements," Vega muttered. "There's more. Our scientists have been analyzing the data from Elysium. They found evidence of an energy pattern emanating from beneath the colony's main settlement, a pattern that matches emissions detected from certain regions on Earth, Mars, and Titan." Vega closed her eyes briefly. The alien commander had been telling the truth, at least partially. "General, I need you to assemble our best xenorchaeologists and quantum physicists. Have them examine every piece of precursor technology we've ever discovered. If the Myrical are correct about this ancient threat, we need to understand it." "And the fleet?" Yamamoto asked. Vega's expression hardened. "The Myrical still committed genocide. They still threaten Earth. We proceed as planned." 18 hours later, humanity's armada entered the Arcturus system. As predicted, 8,000 Myrical vessels awaited them in perfect defensive formation around a massive space station. What the reconnaissance hadn't detected were the quantum disruption fields the aliens had established throughout the system. Fields that immediately caused power fluctuations across a third of the human fleet. "They're targeting our drive systems," reported the tactical officer as the first salvos were exchanged. 30% of the fleet reports critical power loss. Vega watched as the battle unfolded. Despite their technological advantage, the Myrical couldn't counter sheer numbers. For every human ship disabled or destroyed, 20 more moved to fill the gap. Kinetic weapons, laser arrays, and tactical nuclear devices struck against the aliens' energy shields, gradually depleting them. 6 hours into the battle, the tide began to turn. The human fleet had lost nearly 50,000 vessels, but the Myrical defenses were crumbling. Their space station, clearly their command center, was now vulnerable. "Target the station," Vega ordered. "All available firepower." As the order went out, a priority communication arrived from Earth. Vega diverted it to her private channel. "Admiral." The lead xenorchaeologist's face was flushed with excitement and fear. "We've confirmed the Myrical's claims. The precursor artifacts are quantum entanglement nodes designed to contain an entity that exists outside normal spacetime. The Elysium colony had inadvertently begun deactivating the containment protocols. Can the protocols be restored?" Vega asked, watching as the first salvos struck the Myrical station. "Theoretically, yes, but we'll need access to the Myrical's technology. They've been maintaining the network for millennia." Vega made her decision. "Tactical, ceasefire on the station. Focus on disabling their fleet." The battle shifted again. Human vessels executed precise strikes to cripple rather than destroy the alien ships. It was a dangerous strategy that cost thousands more human lives. But gradually, the Myrical fleet was neutralized. Finally, Admiral Vega stood on the bridge of the Retribution as it docked with the damaged Myrical command station. Armed Marines secured the approach as she made her way to the central chamber where Supreme Commander Zythar awaited. The alien scales had dulled, no longer shifting with vibrant colors. 2 of its 4 arms hung limp, injured in the battle. "You could have destroyed us," Zythar observed as Vega entered. "Why didn't you?" "Because extinction isn't our goal," Vega replied. "Justice is." "Justice." The alien's voice resonated with multiple tones of what might have been bitter amusement. "You still don't understand the scale of the threat. The entity contained by the precursor network has consumed entire galaxies. When it breaks free, and it will break free, all concepts of justice become meaningless." "Then help us understand," Vega said, stepping closer. "Work with us to restore the containment protocols. Share your knowledge so that we can protect our worlds without genocide." The Myrical commander studied her for a long moment. "Perhaps we underestimated humanity's capacity for adaptation. But know this, Admiral Vega, if your species cannot be trusted with this knowledge, we will return. And next time, we will bring our entire fleet. How many ships would that be? Vega asked. Zekthar's mouth spiral contracted in what might have been the alien equivalent of a smile. Enough to make your 700,000 look like a scouting party. 3 days later, Vega stood before the United Earth Council, delivering her report. The chamber was silent as she explained the agreement reached with the Myrkul, a fragile alliance born from mutual necessity. Human scientists would work alongside Myrkul specialists to restore the precursor containment network. In exchange, the aliens would share their technology and knowledge about the ancient threat. The price of this alliance was high, Vega concluded. 30 million lives on Elysium Prime, nearly 200,000 more in the Battle of Arcturus. But the alternative was extinction, not just for humanity, but potentially for all life in our galaxy. And you trust these aliens? Asked the council president. After what they did, Vega's expression remained neutral. Trust is irrelevant. We both face the same enemy now. An enemy that has destroyed civilizations far more advanced than either of ours. As the council debated the implications of her report, Vega gazed out the chamber windows at the night sky above New Geneva. Somewhere out there, the Myrkul were gathering their full military might, not to destroy humanity, but to stand with them against a threat older than stars. The aliens had been wrong about one thing, though. They had believed that humanity, faced with extinction, would fragment and fall into chaos. Instead, 30 million deaths had united the species like never before. 700,000 warships had answered the call, a demonstration of resolve that had forced even the arrogant Myrkul to reconsider their assessment of human potential. The stars seemed different to Vega now. Once a frontier to be explored and colonized, they now represented a battlefield in a war that had been raging since before humans walked upright. A war humanity had been drafted into without consent or warning. But if there was one thing humans excelled at, it was adapting to fight wars they didn't start. The Myrkul would learn that lesson well in the coming years. The galaxy would never be the same again.